All right, let's talk about that super annoying check engine light. You know the one. If you're driving a GM or a Chevy and you've been hit with the code P1682, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to crack this code together and figure out what's really going on under the hood.
I mean, there's nothing worse, right? You see that light pop on and your heart sinks a little, but then you go to start your car and it just won't. Or maybe it stalls out on you randomly. You turn the key, you hear it trying, but it just won't catch. It's incredibly frustrating, but let's get to the bottom of why it's happening.
So what on earth does all this technical gobbledygook even mean? Well, P1682, ignition 1 switch circuit 2, it really just boils down to one simple thing. Your car's brain, the engine control module, is totally confused. It's getting two different stories from two really important power circuits at the same time, and it's throwing up a red flag.
To really get this, you have to understand this kind of clever system your car uses. Think of it like a security protocol, a two-key system that needs two different signals to be perfectly in sync for everything to work.
This is the perfect analogy. It's just like a high-security bank vault, you know? The kind you see in movies where two people have to turn their keys at the exact same moment to open the door. Your car's computer is basically doing the same thing.
And here they are, our two keys. On one side, you have circuit 1. This one is always on, providing a constant trickle of power. This is for what we call keep-alive memory. Things like your seat settings, sure, but more importantly, stuff the engine has learned to run smoothly. Then you have circuit 2, the key-on circuit. When you turn that key, this is the one that wakes up the heavy hitters. We're talking fuel injectors, ignition coils, the whole shebang. Both have to report for duty at the same time.
Now this number right here, this is the magic number. This is the tripwire. If your car's computer sees a difference of more than 3 volts between those two circuits for even just a second, bam, it throws a fit. It basically says, hold on, my keys don't match, and it immediately logs that P1682 code and often puts the car into a protective safe mode.
So, okay, that's what's happening on the electrical side. But how does this actually show up for you when you're in the driver's seat? Well, your car will definitely give you some pretty clear clues.
Any of this looking a little too familiar? That crank but no start is the big one for sure. But you might also have your engine just die randomly at a stoplight, or the car goes into that frustrating limp mode where it has no power. You might even see other weird electrical gremlins, like a flashing traction control light or your headlights looking kind of dim.
All right, time to play detective. We know what the code is, and we know the symptoms. Now for the most important part, finding the actual culprit. And we're going to do this logically, starting with the most common and, thank goodness, the easiest things to check first.
Seriously, before you even think about anything complicated, start right here. A simple little blown fuse or a relay that's gone bad is so often the cause of this headache. It's a super simple roadblock in the electrical system, and it's usually a really easy fix.
Now this one might surprise you, but it's a big one. A weak or dying battery can absolutely trick your car's computer into throwing this code. See, if the overall voltage in the system is too low, the computer can misread that drop as a fault in one of the ignition circuits, even when the wires themselves are perfectly fine.
Okay, but if we're being honest, this is the usual suspect. By far the most common cause is the ignition switch itself. I mean, think about it. It's a mechanical part that you use every single day. Over thousands and thousands of key turns, the little metal contacts inside just wear out. When that happens, they can't send a clean, consistent voltage signal, and that's what creates the difference the computer is looking for.
So if it's not the fuses, not the battery, and not the switch, well, it might be the pathways in between. We're talking about the wiring harness. A wire that's frayed, maybe a connector that's gotten corroded, or a pin that's just a little bit loose. Any little interruption in the signal, especially around the fuse box or ignition switch, can trigger this code.
And finally, the one you probably shouldn't worry about just yet, the engine control module itself. Yes, it's possible for the car's computer to fail, but it is really, really rare. And usually, if the ECM is the problem, it won't be lonely. You'll likely see a bunch of other error codes with it, especially U codes, which point to communication problems.
All right, enough theory. It's time to get our hands dirty. Let's walk through a clear step-by-step action plan you can follow to track down this problem yourself.
Okay, let's break it down. First things first, check the absolute basics. Is your battery healthy? It should be reading over 12.6 volts. Then, literally pull out the key fuses, like for the ECM or ignition, and look at them. Step 2, the relay swap. This is a great little trick. Find the starter relay, pull it out, and swap it with an identical one from a system you know works, like the horn. If your horn suddenly stops working but your car starts, well,
You just found your bad relay. Step 3, if those are good, you'll need a multimeter to test the ignition switch and its wiring. And finally, step 4, and don't skip this one, after you fix something, clear the code with a scanner and then take it for a good drive to make sure that problem is gone for good.
So, before you start thinking the worst and picturing expensive repair bills, just take a breath, use what you've learned here, pop the hood, and go check that fuse box. You might be surprised at what you find.